So today we're going to do something very fun indeed, and that is take a look at a custom agent I have designed called Sketch, as you can see. And sketched here on the right, this is not my artwork, of course. This is by Kudos Productions, who actually did this for a card for Legends of Runeterra, but I thought that it fit pretty well here, and I've left a link in the description if you want to check out more of their artwork. You can take a look at it, and they do stuff like Legends of Runeterra cards. They do League of Legends work as well, so if you're familiar with the world of Riot, you'll probably like some of their work. But with that said, let's dive into Sketch and talking about his backstory, and then about his abilities and how he would fit into the game. And so let's start with his background. And so his name is Manuel Carrera, and he is from Chile. And I know that a lot of people will be happy with that, because I think LATAM South is the only major region that doesn't have an agent from it yet. I think. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure off the top of my head. A lot of people in LATAM South, I'm sure, will be very happy that they would be getting some representation. He is 65 years old, so he would be, by far the oldest member of the Valorant protocol if he were to come into the game. He is a Radiant, he is male, and he is a controller. And with all of that in mind, let's take a deeper look into the lore of Manuel and how he got here. Hailing from Chile, Manuel Carrera started off his life as an outcast and an outsider. He was a rebellious and a man of his own mind. Therefore, his strict parents decided it was best for him to enroll for military service. Manuel resented this decision. He always wished to be an artist instead. But after struggling by for a couple of years, Manuel would be put into serious action for the first time. He was tasked with finding a way to rescue hostages from a dire situation. Without hesitation, Manuel quickly devised a distraction, allowing himself and a small group just enough time to rescue all hostages without a single bullet being fired. Manuel would paint a scene of this day and every operation he took part in henceforth. He was now an instant hero, and his reputation and fame in and outside of the military grew quickly. And with this new established reputation came fast promotions, up to the point where he became a leader of a special operations force. After some time of managing this group, his forces were running a joint operation with an American group named the Ragged Ravens. There he met a young man by the name of Liam Byrne. Liam was very interested in finding out more about this great Chilean hero. But Manuel was getting older by this point. He was done with the fame and the battles. He wanted out and vowed this would be his last mission. He looked at Liam with a fury, calling him foolish and naive. "When you've seen what I have, you won't be interested in being the hero anymore, boy," he spat. Liam left the room. He wouldn't see Manuel again for the next 2 weeks. That's when it happened. Everything seemed normal, and the final stages of the joint operation were about to be put into place, but then suddenly an urgent message reached Manuel. It was Liam, desperately pleading Manuel to help the Ravens out as they'd been ambushed. Manuel paused. Liam began to beg. He was getting old now, but these were the moments that he shined in most. He rallied his troops and set off to help the Ragged Ravens as fast as possible. With just enough time to spare, Manuel's forces decimated an unsuspecting enemy. It was another grand victory to add to his name, and it would be his last. He would go home and pursue his true dream of becoming an artist, but not before drawing his last sketch of his last victory and gifting it to Liam. 20 years went by, and no one had dared to bother the old hero. He had changed in this time. The first light had affected him in ways he did not understand. His paintings seemed at one with the world, but he thought eventually it would wear out. That is until he received a letter. It spoke about a secret group needing to break into the headquarters of some company, and he was the perfect person. He wondered how anyone had the gall to call him back to service in any capacity, but then out fell a folded up piece of paper with his sketch from all those years ago. On the back it read, "I need you, Liam Payne." So with that in mind, now let's take a look at the part you're probably all wondering about, which is of course the abilities. So let's start off with the E, of course, and that is called Brushstroke. Now, he is a controller, but keep that in mind. So what's going to happen is he's going to look at the canvas. Now, kind of see this similar to sort of like looking in astral form, right? Where, you come up with this thing and it comes up with the map, like a lot of the controllers, right? And for Sketch, it would be more like a canvas. He's bringing up something that he can draw on, and that's how he's going to put these smokes down. So look at the canvas and then draw on the canvas where to indicate a wall of colorful paint will land on the ground to block enemy vision. So what this is going to look like like on the whole, in terms of the abilities, is probably more like a Phoenix wall kind of thing. He is a wall smoker, that is what he is intended to be. So think Phoenix wall-esque things, but, you know, maybe more colorful and with paint instead. And obviously it doesn't hurt you or anything, you know, as a smoke. That's what the smoke is going to look like. So the way this works as well is you have 100 fuel, and 40 fuel will be used upon first creating a new wall with every 1 meter then using 1 point of fuel. So the reason that I've done this, and you know, having a fuel system I think makes sense, right, for the amount of paint you use, but the reason I've done it where 40 fuel gets used straight away as soon as you create a new wall is because I do want Sketch to be a wall smoker primarily. I don't want him to just have the ability to, you know, do what dome smokers can do, but also do what Viper does as well. I want him to be primarily a wall smoker with the option of, you know, you can use, you know, 2 small smokes if you want to smoke off certain choke points, but primarily you want to be using it as a wall. And, you know, you can get 1 wall all the way up to 60 meters. And the crucial thing is as well, you can curve these walls, right? This isn't like a Viper wall where it has to be a straight line. You can curve them around certain things, which obviously allows you to kind of play around with what you want to do more with this wall overall. The fuel recharge for this ability would be about 50 seconds. The reason I've gone for this is because I thought that if it was much faster, then he would just have too much smoke and it would be too good. To be honest, you know, you could just do a very long continuous line like over and over again. So the idea is that, you know, you're going to have to be somewhat wary of how much fuel you use. And of course, you will need 40 fuel at least to, you know, put down a smoke to even begin with. So, you know, that is kind of a bit of a hampering effect. The smoke duration is 15 seconds, which is the same as Omen and Astra. And the canvas distance is 7,500, which I'm pretty sure means 75 meters for all abilities. So this refers to things like, you know, how Astra is completely universal and you can, you know, smoke off any map. I think Astra's distance is now 30,000, you know, which is way bigger than any map is. And so, you know, she can plant things all across the map, right? Omen has, I think, about a similar range to this, where, you know, on some of the smaller maps, he can reach, you know, almost all the way across a map, but maybe not all the way. That's kind of the intention here, right? That on, you know, maps like Breeze, you won't be able to fully, you know, hit all the different way across the map, but perhaps for some of the smaller maps, you know, you could reach if it was 75 meters away. Second ability is Portrait. Now, Portrait, again, we're going to be looking at that canvas. That's going to be like a common theme across all of these abilities, you know, kind of similar to, I guess, to Astra in that way. But this time you're going to draw a line on the canvas that lands on the ground. Anyone caught within that line will have a trail of paint which follows them when they move, and their walking footsteps will make a sound. So think of like, you know, a fade trail kind of thing, but instead it's going to, you know, leave like just a line of paint that is going to, you know, follow that person around. So similar to sort of fade things. This is going to be a 250 cost ability with only 1 use. It will be lasting for 5 seconds long. So this is with the walking footsteps as well. I thought that was kind of a cool idea, that walking footsteps will also make a sound. You know, I'm thinking quite of like a squelchy sound, you know, with paint being on their shoes or whatever, right? Squelching about. And the line is 12 meters long and 4 meters wide. And so now I'll just go and show you on Valorant, like what about 12 meters and 4 meters wide really is. As you can see here in Ascent A main, it's like most of it, but maybe not completely all of it. The other ability is called palette testing, which is where, again, you look at the canvas. This time you're going to draw a circle on the canvas that lands on the ground. Anyone caught within the circle will have a paint splash on their screen, resulting in reduced vision, which slowly fades away. The cost is 250 again. Again, it's only 1 use. You get 1 second of being fully blind and 2 seconds of it being wiped away. So the full effect is for 3 seconds, and the diameter is 15 meters. Now, the diameter of a fade seize, I'm pretty sure it's 14 meters. So, you know, it's like a fade seize basically in terms of the size of it overall. And basically what I'm picturing here is, you know, that you get covered with paint and then you slowly kind of, you know, claw it off your face. And so, you know, little bits of it start coming off and you start regaining your vision. And by like the, you know, 2.5 second mark, you know, most of it is gone. You know, there's just little bits here and there on your face. But really the big part is, you know, you get that 1 second of fully blind and then, you know, bits start just falling off and crumpling off. And you can begin to see again. And then the final ability is called Paint the Town. Now this one is where you are going to pick 1 point on the map, and then you're going to paint a big square on the canvas around it that lands on the ground. Anyone caught within that square will be revealed to you on the canvas and minimap. So, you know, if you paint on the canvas there and you see them, you know, they will come up on the canvas and the minimap as well for you to see that they are in that square. Then they will have a trail of paint on them as well. Their walking footsteps will be heard also. They will also be covered in paint like the last ability as well. So, you know, for that 1 second, they'll have the full paint and then it will come off them as well, whilst also having the trail, and also their walking footsteps will make sound. And any enemy utility used within that area will also be revealed to you on the canvas and minimap. So things like cipher trips, you know, killjoy alarm bots, chamber traps, you know, anything that you potentially couldn't see before will be revealed in that square as well. This is going to be a 7-cost ult. Again, the trail and the footstep noise will last for 5 seconds, and again, the full blind is for 1 second and 3 seconds till it's fully gone, similar to the other ability. And the area is a 25 by 25 meter square. And what you'll do is you'll basically just pinpoint, you know, on the map where you want the kind of the center of it to be. Think of it kind of like how you use a Brimble, right? Like it'll come up with the map on the canvas, kind of like similar to that, and then, you know, you'll pick a point and it'll do a square around it. And 25 by 25 is, I'm pretty sure, the width of a breach ult, not the length of it, but the width. I'm pretty sure a breach ult is 25 by 30, so 25 by 25 is how big the square will be. And so that is Sketch. Sketch is a controller info initiator hybrid kind of thing going on. The idea is to have a high skill ceiling regarding how exactly his smokes are placed. So of course you can curve those smokes, you can do some very interesting things with walls and whatnot, and create different, you know, sort of smokes that you wouldn't normally see, right? And you could get creative potentially with them. I should have said before as well, you don't have like full control to like do sharp turns or whatever, but it's kind of like a Phoenix wall, you know, where you can curve them pretty easily. Probably a bit easier to curve than a Phoenix wall overall, I would say, but not like, you know, full, like just draw whatever you want. So that's how it's kind of going to work. And again, yeah, it is about creating that kind of high skill ceiling of using different smokes for different situations, and you know, it would be very interesting, I think, in terms of, you know, how to use them. He is limited obviously by his fuel usage and his more limited range in terms of comparison to like an Astra, for instance, and obviously the smokes only last 15 seconds as well, so they aren't as long as something like a Brim smoke, or you don't get as much as like a Viper who can put the wall up, you know, a lot. He only has one ability for each of his second and third ability slots as well. So, you know, the idea there is that, you know, because you have so much kind of expansion with how you're going to use the potential smokes, you know, I didn't want to give him too much in terms of, you know, he can also do this and this and this, and he basically ends up as just like a superior version to everything else, right? So I wanted to make sure that, you know, those things were kind of still powerful abilities, but, you know, you only got one of them, so you'd have to be thinking about how to use them. And then he does have a powerful ult. I did want him to have a powerful ult that obviously combines like all of the kit into one, kind of Fade-esque in a way, if you will, there, you know, where it's all kind of the kit combined into one, and you know, it has a lot of potential, right? Whoever is caught in that square, you're gonna know, you know, roughly where they are. You're gonna be able to hear them if they're even walking around. You know, they're gonna be blind for a second as well. You know, it should be a pretty impactful ult on the whole, and that's kind of what I was going for, right? That you have this kind of interesting, unique character to play around with, who has, you know, some limitations, but also, you know, hopefully some interesting, fun things to do as well. And I think what I'm most pleased with this custom agent design is that he feels very different, I feel, to the current agents in the game, and that, you know, there seems to be, I could imagine a lot of different places for this agent, and, you know, that this would shake up the meta in certain ways. I'm thinking, you know, maybe maps like Icebox and Breeze would become, you know, Viper plus Sketch, which would be quite interesting as well, you know, and there'd be a lot of different things you could potentially do with him, which was kind of the overall point. So that was my custom agent. Hope you enjoyed it, and let me know if you have any feedback in the comments down below. And yeah, I'm very interested to see what you guys think of Sketch.